and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
You see what the Bible says? Does that scare you?
No.
Well, you don't believe it, so you don't believe it, so it's like.
I don't.
You okay?
Yeah, fine.
You look
It's
sleepy.
it's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it is a lot.
It really is. I'm trying to sort of like wrap my head around it.
I'm wondering what it's like to go through life feeling that,
Oppressed,
yeah,
hated.
yeah, and to feel that one day you're going to be redeemed, that the day hasn't come yet, and holding on to that faith.
Right. Give me that Luke 1:71.
But maybe just in your own words too, like.
Why does it have to be my own words? So you can argue with me?
No, not
Didn't I
so
tell you I
much.
use my own words?
I have no doubt that you're basing your beliefs on the Bible.
But your readers won't know that. I want your readers to know that what we say is biblical,
Right.
not what we made up. Because they'll go, oh, those niggers made that up. That's what they'll say. Read that ASAP.
Luke chapter 1, verse 71. That we should be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us.
So that gets us up in the morning. That the promise is that we shall be saved from our enemies and from the hand of all that hate us. So now we can take a deep breath and go to work and say, hi Chuck, hi Charles, how are you? It helps us.
Could you tell me like a personal story in your life where that happened to you? Like there was a specific instance that made you think of that verse?
Oh, the other day, Passover, the day after Passover, we had a gathering and at a complex, and there was a tenant there who felt what's the word?
Offended at the black
that there was
presence.
so many blacks and Latinos. So she called 911.
Where was this?
This was in Newburgh. This was this Monday that just passed. She said there's upstate.
Yeah.
She said there's 200 black people fighting. So the cops came with shotguns, tasers, surrounded. I had to come on. We came out. What's going on? They said we got a report that there's 200 black people fighting up here. I said that's a lie. I said look, you got women and children here. What are you talking about? So the cop was mad. He said that woman over there, because he knew who it was, went over to it and he started to just get on about making it. I told her when I spoke to her, I said that's racist. That was a racist thing.
Was
and
it a white woman?
it was a white woman. This is what we have to live with.
Mm-hmm.
But we get through it because we understand the Bible. Now, if we didn't know the Bible, the average black man might have gotten what? Very irate and started to fight.
Yes.
It could have really escalated into something really bad. And of course, blacks, we went to jail and all that. But we don't conduct ourselves like that. We use reasoning and biblical text to conduct ourselves. You understand that?
Yes.
So it quelled the situation down. That's where we're at.
Because in your mind, you're probably thinking the cops were called, they came and they left. What we had to fear for, there was all white police officers looking for a reason to use their weapons. There was no reason to pull your weapon on women were grabbing their children to run. Okay? The police were walking towards us even though we were hundreds of feet away from them. Okay? And the people in authority had to tell them to stand down. It was one of those things where we were afraid even to make eye contact or make a sudden move because we could have easily been shot and it would have put in the newspaper, he was reaching for something. Oh, it was just a spoon or a cell phone. Does that not happen all the time?
Oh, it does. And in Newburgh, 4 people were ringed up by the FBI.
That's right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Where are your bases right now as a church? Do you find like you're getting members and like just so we have an idea like how large is your membership? And that
our membership I don't even know. It's in the thousands. Right now, New York is the headquarters. We have bases in Texas, Atlanta, Oklahoma, Florida,
California, England,
Canada,
Jamaica, Barbados,
Holland.
Wow.
So there's people all over. As they're hearing this truth, our people are waking up.
And when did your church found? Because, I guess, when did you guys get started?
This particular branch got started in 2003.
And
it started in my apartment. That's when I met Deacon Asaph and the other members.
Oh, wow. Yeah, because I'm just trying to map this sort of tree of different Israelite organizations. Mm-hmm. Were you guys coming out of another organization? Or?
Well, as Deacon Asaph told you, he did. He had not affiliated himself with them. I came from another organization.
Which one?
That was the Israeli Church of Universal Practical Knowledge. That's where I came from. Okay, that fell apart. So I just had to start again. And as when I started again, Deacon Asaph came, you had other deacons, Yao Saab, other members started to come. And then we started to teach. This was back in '03. So this truth has been around for a while. So I don't think it's like,
Well, you know, it's a little difficult on the internet, which is
on our website.
to talk to someone not, you know.
If you go to our website, we have it written out for you. We
Okay.
have it definitely written out under the Israelite school, history of the Israelite schools. We have a page dedicated to that.
Now, I noticed on your website you have like a women's chapter, or
Oh, Daughters of Sabbath.
yeah,
Yes.
Sarah was the second, the daughter of Eve.
No.
Oh, okay.
Sarah.
I know.
Sarah was the wife of Abraham.
Okay.
It's very important that in this truth, God wants the woman to be in order.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you read in, can we get that up, Asa? Titus chapter 2, about the aged women. This is what the message is for our women. Okay, because white society, again, they gave the women welfare. You familiar with that? Like during the 50s and 60s, welfare was given.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the stipulation of welfare?
There was lots of stipulations.
About the men. What was the stipulation about the men?
Oh, there were some horrible ones, like the men couldn't live in the home.
Exactly.
Or something like that. Yeah.
So when they got that, what did that do to the black and Latin family?
It broke up the family.
Exactly. So now we're trying to come back and get these women off the welfare, bring our families back, because now you have women having children out of wedlock. It's rampant, and it's all as a result of what we thought was for our benefit, welfare. That was to our destruction, our detriment.
So, yeah, I noticed that there's a lot of cooking tips and things like that. Do you feel like
Yes.
the woman should be
They have
cooking
to-
for the man?
They have to learn. They have to learn how to.
Can women work in your church?
Let me show you. Asa, give me that Titus 2.
Titus chapter 2.
What verse is it?
But Titus chapter 2, verse 1. But speak thou the things which become sound doctrine, that the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, and the aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness. That's why you see us on the webpage trying to teach them what is holiness. Not Nicki Minaj, not Little Kim.
Right.
Those are whores. That's the black role model, not Beyonce. Beyonce's a whore. The scriptures tell us that the aged women, likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness, not false accusers, not given to much wine, teachers of good things, that they may teach the young woman to be sober. Nicki Minaj is not sober. Beyonce is not sober.
Do you guys minister to women that look up to Little Kim?
Well,
And
many of the
what's their
sisters that
typical-
come in,
Yeah.
a lot of them coming from the world, those were their role models. We have to show them that's not your role model. Those role models were set up by this system to keep our families destroyed. Did you finish that, Asaph?
To be discreet, chaste, keepers at home, good, obedient to their own husbands, that the word of the God be not blasphemed.
So this is about bringing the husband and wife together, the family unit back. And society is against that. They don't want the black man and black woman to have a family, a structure. They like us divided. That way, that's why these young boys raised by their mothers, where's the majority of the young black men raised by single parents?
Prison, I guess that's what
You,
it is.
you know exactly where they are. Prison, that's where they are. So what we're doing is for the benefit of our people, the salvation of our people. And if you're against that, what are you? Racist. Racist, that's what you are.
That's right.
So, I'm curious. You have a critique of the system, the law and order, but how do the majority of your members end up working in law enforcement? That just seems contradictory.
It's not contradictory. Romans 13, I'm going to show you. Romans 13.
Romans chapter 13, verse 1 says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers.
The high powers during that time was Rome. But who's the high power now? America.
A pyramid on the dollar.
America. Go ahead.
Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of God.
So God ordained nations to rule and reign. Go ahead.
The powers that be are ordained of God.
America was set up by God Almighty. Go ahead.
Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God. And they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation.
So God is telling us, don't resist the ordained governments. Follow their laws. That's what he's saying. Go ahead.
Okay? For the rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Meaning if you're breaking the law, you should get locked up. If you're doing good works and you're doing what the Bible says to do, the powers that be will not interfere with your life, which is the way we wish that it would be. But as we explained on Monday, sometimes they can go overboard.
So in your lives, have you ever felt like a conflict between working as security or law enforcement and your faith?
Not at all. Not when you read in the Bible. Give me that in Luke chapter 1. Trying to think what verse it is. Luke 1, it might be Luke 2, when the soldiers came to John the Baptist. I got to show you that. Haven't gone to that in a long time.
Many of our forefathers in the Bible were in law enforcement. Okay? Many of them. Some of them protected the king. Okay? So it's not something that's unusual that for us to be lawfully working for them hand in hand with them. The position that we're in as people were brought on us because we went against God. It's a part of our punishment. Right. So we have to stay there and be lawful and be orderly.
Right. That's Luke 3:14. Luke chapter 3, verse 14. Like I said, our answers must be biblical. So you understand it's not a personal campaign.
Luke chapter 3, verse 14. And the soldiers likewise demanded of him, saying, And what shall we do? And he said unto them, Do violence to no man, neither accuse any falsely, and be content with your wages.
So those soldiers were Israelites at that time, and John the Baptist instructed them, because as Israelites, we work in all facets of this world. Okay, like during the time of Daniel, he was one of the leaders under Nebuchadnezzar. Esther became queen under Persia. Israel falls in different lines of work, and we have to be in those lines of work until our redemption comes. But when we're free, when we're not working, what are we doing? We're gathering one with another. We're learning the laws of God, learning our true history. That's what we're doing.
So did someone...
Does that offend you?
No, it doesn't. I was just interested. Mm-hmm. Did someone in your congregation get a job as like a security guard and help other people get work that way? Or
you're really interested in
I am interested. I am. Well, you know, like
guess what? Some brothers are school teachers. Mm-hmm. Some sisters are some
are lawyers,
degrees.
Doctors.
Cool. Yeah.
Lawyers, doctors.
And also, okay, so we've gone over a lot of the plight of the Israelites. And you've told me about how you believe that the people that call themselves Jewish are white and they're, masquerading as
Give me
Jewish.
wait, hold on.
Revelation 2 verse 9.
You said I don't want you to think this is us.
It's in the Bible.
No, I gotta show you more.
Okay.
Revelation 2:9. Listen to this.
Revelation chapter 2 verse 9. It says, I know thy works in tribulation and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan.
That's what Jesus Christ said. This is why Jewish people today reject the New Testament. They say, no, he's calling us the synagogue of Satan. That's what Jesus said, the black Jesus.